Nature plays no favorites. It operates solely on cold, unyielding laws forged over millions of years. A single misstep, a missed signal, or a fraction of a second lost to an adversary can alter the course of fate. Here, the end of one creature is often the very foundation for the survival of many others. And within this eternal cycle, the battle for survival never ceases. During the dry season, the Zambezi earth can become blisteringly hot. Up in the leadwood and acacia trees, lions find shade, a gentle breeze, and refuge from the scorching ground below. But the far greater advantage is the vantage point. From above, they can survey the game trails, waterholes, and the movements of their prey across a much wider expanse. Here, a tree is not merely a shelter from the sun. It becomes a watchtower. For the young lions, every new perspective is a new lesson. Hunger is one of nature's most unforgiving teachers. Every failed hunt leaves a permanent mark on their memory. And repeating the same mistake can cost the entire pride dearly. Gradually, they learn to observe longer, move less, and choose their moments with lethal precision. In the Zambezi, the terrain can silently shift every advantage. A steep incline. A narrow trail winding toward a watering hole. All of these can force prey to slow down, make turning more difficult, and expose fatal moments of vulnerability. The young lions gradually learn that a hunt does not begin with a sudden sprint. It begins with patient observation, waiting for the prey to step into a disadvantageous position, and waiting until the distance is short enough that every ounce of energy expended is justified. Instinct allows them to recognize an opportunity, but only experience teaches them exactly when to strike. On the savannah, victory rarely belongs to the swiftest to act. It belongs to the one who knows how to wait for the perfect moment. South Luangwa, Zambia. A wilderness spanning over 3,400 square miles, 9,000 square kilometers, where conservationist Norman Carr pioneered the concept of the walking safari in the 1950s. Here, the Luangwa River still flows, freely nurturing floodplains that sustain countless creatures. Amidst a land that seems ruled by giants, the true sovereign is an almost invisible phantom. The leopard. Open woodlands interspersed with flooded grasslands create countless hiding spots, but they also make hunting far more unpredictable. Here, just a single misplaced footstep, emitting a sound at the wrong moment, and the opportunity vanishes. That immense evolutionary pressure has forged one of Africa's most elusive predators. Every advantage of the leopard begins with its ability to vanish before ever being seen. Weighing between 65 and 200 pounds, 30 to 90 kilograms, and measuring nearly 6.5 feet 2 meters long, including the tail, the leopard does not rely on sheer size to dominate its habitat. Its coat, covered in rosettes unique to each individual, blends almost perfectly with the dappled light of the woodland. That advantage is further amplified by a reflective layer behind the retina, allowing it to see in low light conditions 6 to 8 times better than a human in the dead of night. But all those abilities only truly come into play when the distance is closed to absolute perfection. Not every prey chooses to flee. Baboons possess an entirely different strategy. They live in large troops, constantly watching out for each other and issuing warning signals when danger is detected. If a single individual is threatened, dozens of others can instantly rally to mob and pressure the predator. In this confrontation, the advantage does not lie in individual strength. It lies in the sheer power of the collective. That is when two completely contrasting survival strategies directly collide. When the wind shifts, the prey turns its back, and the distance closes to mere paces, the leopard explodes into action at nearly 36 miles per hour, 58 kilometers per hour. ambush typically lasts less than 2 seconds. If successful, the kill is rapidly hoisted up a tree, where the leopard's immensely powerful jaws and neck muscles allow it to lift prey up to twice its own body weight, safe from the competition of hyenas, lions, and other scavengers. But against baboons, things rarely end so quickly. The alarm call rings out. The entire troop instantly rallies. A lone predator must weigh the reward against the risk of being surrounded. In nature, not every hunt is worth seeing through to the end. Lions are not the only species to prove that the greatest strength can come from the collective. Further out on the savannah, another predator has elevated coordination into a near-perfect strategy. It is the African wild dog. The sole surviving member of the genus Lycaon, possessing 4 toes on each paw and a body optimized for long-distance pursuits. A pack typically consists of 6 to 20 individuals. But what holds them together is not the sheer dominance of the strongest individual. Every pup is cared for by the entire pack. Injured individuals still receive food from their pack mates. Their mottled coats of yellow, black, and white help identify each member, while body language and low-frequency vocalizations maintain almost absolute coordination. Before every high-action hunt, the pack even makes decisions through a unique series of sneezes, only setting off when a quorum of agreement is reached. A seemingly simple mechanism, but the result of tens of millions of years of social evolution. And when the pack moves, as one, each individual virtually becomes a component of a single unified organism. But the adversaries of the African wild dog are by no means defenseless in this interspecies struggle. Antelopes, zebras, and wildebeests all live within systems of collective vigilance, where just one individual spotting danger can trigger the entire herd to change direction in a fraction of a second. Speed, numbers, and sheer chaos are their natural lines of defense. A hunt can fail simply because the prey splinters in the wrong direction, or because the herd abruptly tightens its formation. For the African wild dog, success does not come from a single overwhelming strike. It comes from the ability to sustain pressure longer than their opponent. And when the pursuit begins, the pack is no longer a group of isolated individuals, but a moving, synchronized system brought into sharp focus. The African wild dog can reach speeds of around 40 miles per hour, 66 kilometers per hour, but its greatest advantage does not lie in raw speed. It lies in endurance and coordination. While a lead dog maintains relentless pressure from behind other members, continuously flank and dictate the prey's trajectory. No one attempts to finish the hunt alone. Each individual merely executes their specific role. It is this very rotation that allows the pack's hunting success rate to reach an astounding 80%, significantly higher than many other large savanna predators. And yet one of the most efficient cooperative predators on the planet is slowly fading away. Today, only about 6,600 mature individuals remain, with fewer than 1,400 capable of breeding, classifying the African wild dog as endangered. When a pack disappears, nature does not just lose a few dozen individuals. It loses an entire cooperative network, honed through millions of years of evolution. The spirit of the pack can overcome solitary strength. But even the most flawless strategy struggles to survive if natural habitats continue to shrink under the weight of human expansion. Leaving the vast savannas of Africa, the journey continues to the tropical coral reefs of the Indian Ocean. Stretching over 43,000 miles, 70,000 kilometers across tropical seas, the coral reef system is home to roughly 25% of all marine species, despite covering less than 1% of the ocean floor. Amidst this colorful world, a predator lies concealed among the coral branches. Here, the hunt is no longer decided by the sound of footsteps, the scent on the wind, or high-speed pursuits across the ground. Everything unfolds in near absolute silence. And sometimes the most dangerous predator does not need to be large. It only needs to be sophisticated enough to turn beauty into a deadly trap. The coral reef is a living labyrinth. Rocky crevices, coral branches, and schools of small fish create a world that is both abundant and fiercely competitive. In such an environment, speed is not always the greatest advantage. Sometimes a more effective predator is one that can force its prey to maneuver directly into a disadvantageous position. And the lionfish has refined this into a near-perfect strategy. The lionfish stands out with its pectoral fins flared wide like a majestic cloak. "18 venomous spines along its back serve as a defense against adversaries. But venom is not its primary hunting weapon. Its true weapon lies in its absolute control of movement. Thanks to a swim bladder that regulates buoyancy with pinpoint precision, the lionfish can hover tilt and maintain an almost motionless position amidst the current. The lionfish's prey typically consists of schools of small fish living around the reefs. They are fast, hyper-aware, and always seek refuge in rocky crevices when threatened. But the coral labyrinth itself can also become their boundary. Once the escape routes are narrowed, speed loses much of its meaning. That is when the lionfish begins to use its striking appearance as an instrument of control. The lionfish does not need speed to hunt. It advances slowly, spreading its pectoral fins wide, like living curtains, systematically cornering the small fish into tighter spaces within the coral. The more the space shrinks, the fewer chances there are to escape. When the distance is close enough, everything ends in the blink of an eye. The coral reef is a realm where light shifts continuously with every passing wave. Colors, shapes, and casting shadows are in a state of constant flux, creating an environment that is as vibrant as it is challenging. To hunt in this domain, mere concealment is not enough. A predator must continuously adapt to the ever-shifting landscape surrounding it. Few creatures master this art, quite like the cuttlefish. A member of the cephalopod class, the cuttlefish possesses one of the most highly developed brains of any invertebrate. Millions of pigment cells known as chromatophores work in tandem with light-reflecting cells and specialized skin structures, allowing it to alter its color pattern and even the physical texture of its body in a fraction of a second. skin can transform from perfectly smooth to jaggedly rough, mimicking rock sand or coral with astonishing precision. This is not merely camouflage. It is the ability to project the environment directly onto its own flesh. But this extraordinary ability serves far more than just evading detection. The cuttlefish possesses 3 hearts and pumps, blue hemocyanin-rich blood, an oxygen-carrying pigment based on copper rather than the iron found in mammals. Its distinctive W-shaped pupils allow it to perceive polarized light and a myriad of visual signals that remain entirely invisible to most other organisms. The cuttlefish's prey typically consists of shrimp, crabs, and small fish armed with lightning-fast reflexes. Therefore, rather than relying solely on a stealthy approach, the cuttlefish utilizes pulsing colors and bodily movements to mesmerize and disorient its prey's reaction times. Strobe-like bands of color cascade across its body as it closes in on the target. In that fleeting hypnotic moment, the prey hesitates, its defenses paralyzed against the incoming threat. In an instant, 2 specialized feeding tentacles shoot outward with blistering speed. The remaining 8 arms rapidly envelop and secure the target. A razor-sharp beak, hidden at the center of its arms, delivers the final lethal strike of the hunt. The entire sequence unfolds so rapidly that it is almost imperceptible to the human eye. The Pacific Ocean, a name that suggests peace and calm, yet beneath its surface lies a world of constant upheaval. Holding nearly half of all the water on Earth, it is home to some of the most extraordinary stories of survival ever witnessed. Here, the ultimate survivor is not always the strongest, but the one with the greatest intelligence and resilience. Across these vast waters, the orca emerges as a ruler of unmatched authority. An animal so intelligent that even the great white shark, one of the ocean's most feared predators, often avoids confrontation and yields its path. Despite its intimidating name, the killer whale is actually the largest member of the dolphin family, possessing an exceptionally advanced brain. The true weapon behind its dominance is not size, but knowledge passed down through generations. Orcas live in strong matriarchal families, where the oldest female serves as both leader and keeper of memory. The Pacific Ocean, a name that suggests peace and calm, yet beneath its surface lies a world of constant upheaval. Each pod also possesses its own unique system of vocal communication, a distinct dialect unlike that of any other group. Their intelligence is revealed most clearly through hunting strategies so sophisticated they rival military coordination. In the Pacific Northwest, entire pods work together to surround and compress schools of herring into dense spheres. Then, one by one, members take turns striking the water with their powerful tails, stunning dozens of fish at once. This seamless coordination is not driven by blind instinct, but by calculated timing and clearly divided roles. Every hunt becomes a real-world lesson in strategy, cooperation, and deep understanding within the pod. The icy waters surrounding Seal Island were once considered an untouchable kingdom. There, the great white shark, a perfectly evolved predator with a body reaching nearly 20 feet long and rows of razor-sharp teeth, had ruled proudly for over 11 million years. The uncrowned ruler believed its dominance over the ocean would last forever. But that ancient reign collapsed when another shadow emerged from the deep, the orca. Their arrival transformed what was once a stronghold of great white sharks into a realm of fear, where even the ocean's most feared predator fled in panic to survive. Great whites rely on extraordinary sensory systems capable of detecting even the faintest movement from prey at great distances. But orcas possess something even more terrifying: intelligence capable of understanding an opponent's weakness completely. Most famous in these waters are the pair known as port and starboard, recognized by their distinctively bent dorsal fins, weathered by years at sea. Unlike predators driven purely by instinct, they overpower great whites through calculated precision. By striking and rolling the shark upside down, they trigger tonic immobility, a temporary paralysis that leaves the predator helpless within moments. Then, with surgical accuracy, they make a precise incision beneath the pectoral fin. They remove the massive nutrient-rich liver and silently leave the lifeless body sinking into the depths. In nature, the true ruler is not the creature with the greatest raw strength, but the one with superior intelligence. Only hours after one shark is killed, other great whites often disappear entirely from the region, fleeing hundreds of miles away. Power has changed hands, yielding to a species that understands strategy and the value of energy conservation. Across the vast ocean, where sunlight reaches clear, shallow waters, one creature stands as a symbol of intelligence and harmony. The dolphin. With graceful crescent-shaped dorsal fins, they are among the most refined inhabitants of the upper ocean layers. What many people do not realize is that the ocean's feared hunter, the orca, is actually the largest member of the dolphin family. Despite their remarkable intelligence and freedom across coastal waters, these animals remain vulnerable within an ocean that never stops changing. The true weapon that has allowed dolphins to survive for millions of years is not sharp teeth, but an incredibly sophisticated mind. They possess extraordinary echolocation abilities. In dark or murky water, sound waves create a detailed map of the surroundings within their minds. When hunting, that intelligence transforms into elegant teamwork. Entire pods coordinate to herd fish into dense bait balls, then take turns feeding with astonishing precision. Beneath the cold ocean surface, dolphin society reveals deep social bonds. They live through alliances built on protection, cooperation, and shared care for calves. Each dolphin even carries a unique whistle, functioning almost like a personal name, while every pod develops distinct vocal patterns to communicate across the sea. And beyond survival, they are known to ride waves and engage in playful behavior, expressions of social connection rarely seen in the wild. Yet the ocean has never been completely peaceful. Despite their intelligence and agility, dolphins must constantly remain alert against predators such as tiger sharks, great white sharks, and even their larger relatives, the orcas. To survive, dolphins do not simply flee in panic. They rely on intelligence, speed, and coordinated group defense to confuse, surround, and repel attackers. But no matter how agile or intelligent they are, one limitation can never be escaped. Born in the ocean, yet carrying the lungs of mammals, dolphins cannot breathe underwater. No matter how deep they dive, survival always forces them back to the surface for air. Deep beneath the dark layers of the vast ocean, a creature hides quietly while carrying extraordinary intelligence. The octopus, a mysterious, soft-bodied animal with blue blood and 3 hearts beating endlessly within its body. Though its lifespan rarely exceeds 2 years, it still manages to create survival abilities beyond human imagination in the deep sea. Its greatest weapon is not armor or venom, but an astonishingly distributed nervous system. Hundreds of millions of neurons are not concentrated solely in a central brain, but spread throughout its 8 flexible arms. Each arm functions almost independently, capable of sensing, tasting, and making decisions on its own. When threatened, the octopus releases a dense cloud of ink, disrupting both vision and sensory tracking of its enemies. Even more remarkable, its boneless body allows even a large octopus to compress itself through incredibly narrow gaps to escape danger. The survival strategy of this animal becomes a spectacular performance of transformation. Using specialized pigment cells beneath its skin, it can alter color, texture, and patterns within moments. Some species push camouflage even further, mimicking dangerous animals such as lionfish or sea snakes. Far beyond instinct alone, octopuses have even demonstrated future planning, collecting discarded coconut shells from the sea floor and assembling them into portable shelters for protection. Yet within the vast, cold ocean, the most moving aspect is not its intelligence, but the sacrifice of motherhood. When reproduction begins, the female octopus searches for a hidden den and begins guarding her eggs. For weeks, sometimes even years depending on the species, she remains beside them without feeding. She continuously fans water across the eggs to provide oxygen, while driving away predators that approach. And when the tiny hatchlings finally emerge into the world, the mother's body is completely exhausted. Her life quietly comes to an end. Each young octopus drifts alone into the open ocean, carrying with it the legacy of a mother that sacrificed everything to give life to the next generation. Across the vast ocean, nature often hides its most terrifying powers beneath the calmest appearances. Here, venom is not merely a weapon, but a perfect expression of survival and adaptation. One of the clearest examples is the banded sea crate. With striking black and white bands, it glides silently among the coral reefs of the Pacific like an elegant shadow. Unlike many marine animals, it exists between two worlds. It hunts beneath the ocean surface, yet still depends on land to rest, digest, shed skin, and continue its life cycle. The weapon behind its reputation is an invisible venom of extraordinary potency. Its toxicity can exceed that of many dangerous land cobras. Even a very small amount is enough to overwhelm a human within hours. Yet the true greatness of the sea crate is not destruction, but restraint. Despite carrying immense power, it remains highly non-aggressive and rarely attacks unless directly threatened. Venom is used only when absolutely necessary. When darkness falls and coral crevices become a maze, the hunt begins. With remarkable lung capacity, the sea crate dives deep and delivers precise strikes like surgical attacks. For this animal, venom is a tool for survival, not excess. The highest form of strength and intelligence is not destruction, but understanding limits and preserving balance. Deep beneath the dark layers of the ocean, there is an entity drifting silently. It does not move with the current, but challenges the flow of time itself. No brain, no heart, no blood. "95% of a jellyfish's body is simply water. This biological design has existed for more than 500 million years. They drifted through the oceans before the first plants appeared on land, and survived every mass extinction that once erased the dinosaurs. To survive 500 million years without thought, nature equipped them with a perfect automated weapon system. The tentacles of lion's mane, jellyfish, can extend beyond 100 feet, longer than an adult blue whale. Each tentacle is a biological minefield, carrying millions of venom-filled stinging cells. The moment mechanical contact is detected, microscopic harpoons fire automatically. Their firing speed exceeds the acceleration of a rifle bullet leaving the barrel. No eyes needed to aim, no brain needed to calculate. "500 million years of evolution encoded every predatory reflex into each individual cell, a design so efficient it never needed to change." But the greatest power of this creature is not its ability to take life. It is its ability to reject death itself. Turritopsis dohrne. Scientists call it the immortal jellyfish. When faced with catastrophic injury or aging, this biological system does not shut down. It reverses direction. Mature cells regress, returning to an earlier stem cell-like state. It abandons its aging form and transforms back into a juvenile stage to begin life again from the very beginning. It completely rebuilds an entirely new body, an endless biological loop. For the first time on this planet, death itself appears transformed into a new beginning. Humanity often assumes intelligence must come with a complex brain or emotional depth. But if the intelligence of a species is measured by endurance and the ability to persist through entire eras, then this may be nature's ultimate form. Immortality does not require a brain. It only requires time. A silent persistence, a boneless empire, yet one that has endured longer than every civilization ever built on Earth. The ocean is not simply a lifeless mass of water, but a magnificent kingdom shaped by extraordinary forms of survival intelligence. Millions of years of evolution have created a delicate balance. Where orcas pass cultural knowledge through generations. Where mother octopuses sacrifice themselves for their offspring. And where sea snakes possess devastating power while still understanding restraint. Together, they form a vast symphony of marine life, where true dominance belongs not to the most violent, but to those that preserve balance. Yet this fragile network is now being pushed toward collapse by the species that calls itself the most intelligent on Earth, humanity. The Pacific Ocean, a name that suggests peace and calm, yet beneath its surface, plastic pollution, Industrial noise disrupting dolphin communication and global warming are stripping countless species of their homes. Some of the ocean's greatest minds may disappear before humanity fully understands them. It is time for people to relearn from nature the power of restraint. True intelligence is not measured by domination or destruction, but by the ability to protect life. If one day the intelligent creatures of the ocean vanish in silence, humanity will lose part of its own future as well. Use human intelligence today to protect the living wonders of the ocean before it is too late.